Welcome to the SNN Network Canada virtual events. I'd like to introduce our next presenter, Paul Ghezzi, CEO of Kontrol Technologies. Paul, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone, and thanks for joining us. This is Paul Ghezzi, CEO of Kontrol Technologies. We trade on the NEO Exchange in Canada as KNR and on the OTCQB as KNRLF. Kontrol Technologies is leading the digital transformation of buildings and cities. As we go through the presentation and I share the Kontrol story, there's a number of unique aspects to our story. One is high insider ownership position, roughly 25%. So we're committed to building this business for the long term and to grow the business. A low shareholder or a low share float, roughly right now 48 million, and very strong growth rates since 2016. And we'll talk more about the financials, a growing IP and technology moat, and a great customer base and great partnerships that we'll get into. In terms of the market we serve, Morgan Stanley has just written a very interesting piece which describes our sector in the building technology supercycle. And if we think about where the world has moved from, large renewable power plants in the past decade to a much more focused approach on the impact of buildings on the environment. And in terms of the tailwinds in the sector, we have right now government infrastructure. So in the U.S., you would have the Biden infrastructure plan. In Canada, we have our own version of that. Rising energy costs, which are making buildings very expensive to operate. Sustainability and stakeholder activism around GHG emissions, and the move to net zero in an aging infrastructure market. So these are all tailwinds that we're experiencing in our business, and we'll describe in more detail as we go through the presentation. In terms of the addressable market, energy waste and emissions are currently approximately $100 billion annual USD addressable market, growing at about 10% a year. And what's causing that is primarily old infrastructure that needs to be modernized to capture energy waste and to reduce emissions. So we service both of these markets through our technology and solutions. Any customer of Kontrol is typically a building which is more than 40,000 square feet in size, has an energy problem, a sustainability problem, and an emission problem. In terms of, I would say, the major trend in the industry is we're moving from limited intelligence in buildings, limited intelligence in terms of building automation systems, sensors, and technology in buildings to provide the performance required. And we're moving from that limited intelligence to what we define as integrated intelligence or unified intelligence to make buildings more efficient, to make buildings more sustainable, and to make buildings a place that stakeholders and corporate sustainability can display their sustainability improvements. So as you may know, the majority of companies in the Fortune 1000 have a net zero 2050 sustainability policy, and that includes their building stock and their building footprint. So what do our customers really want? They want autonomous buildings that are smart, clean, and sustainable. And how do we deliver that? We deliver that through an integrated platform of software, services, and projects. In terms of how we deliver those, the revenue mix on the project side includes new build, retrofit, which is making a change to an existing building, a software platform, and a service platform. And we'll get into more details on those. In terms of our primary technology, we call our primary technology Smart Site, which is a building-level energy management optimization and control software. Our proprietary technology allows us to speak with any legacy system, which means we can sit on top of any system as a protocol layer, derive data from that system, get that system back to the asset manager or building owner, and begin to make changes to optimize the technology in real time. HVAC systems account for somewhere between 60 and 70% of overall energy spent in a building. And if you're not addressing the HVAC system, you're really missing the arbitrage and the opportunity to reduce energy costs and improve sustainability. So SmartSite is our leading technology. It allows us to capture clients in a frictionless sale, allows data to flow between the customer and control, and allows us to begin to optimize. We then move to our in-suite technology, which is SmartSuite. And what we're providing here is in-suite controls at the building level. So as we move up from the HVAC system, we can now move into the suite level and start to provide more granular information in every room or every suite. And this would be a product across the commercial multi-residential sector. We have now more than 16,000 of these devices deployed, and that's growing very quickly. So this would be a complementary technology to SmartSite. As our technologies are deployed, what we do for our customers is provide enormous amounts of data, analytics, and controls, which did previously not exist. Those controls are really designed to reduce energy spend, energy consumption, reduce GHG emissions, and improve sustainability. From a financial summary perspective, I think we're a unique story in the small cap market. We started our journey in 2016 as a Canadian public company with approximately 1.9 million of revenue. We've just closed our best quarter, Q3, with approximately 29 million of revenue. We've provided an outlook for year-end between 43 and 46 million, and we anticipate doubling that into 2022. I think what's unique about our story is we've delivered a very high CAGR with EBITDA positive and now 2 quarters of net income positive. That's not easy to do in the small cap market, and we do pay a lot of attention to the financial discipline required in the business to create that value, and it's something that we're proud of as a small cap with our growth rates. So the future is very bright. Another important metric is we started with 10 buildings in 2016. We've been able to scale that now to 400 buildings as customers, and we believe we can double that into next year. In terms of our customer base and how customers win with us, we're going to walk through what a typical win looks like and who a typical customer is. From a customer win perspective, we're delivering immediate energy savings. More than 200 million kilowatt hours now have been delivered. We're delivering corresponding GHG emission reductions, over 142 million kilograms of CO2 reduced. And we're delivering an enormous amount of data for our customers to improve their portfolios and their buildings. And that's really summarized in terms of paybacks. If we can deliver a 3-year or faster payback, that's a big win for our customers. And so we tend to stay in that 3-year payback number, which equates to approximately a 30% IRR on an investment and an improvement. From a who our customer is perspective, we're very fortunate to have a blue chip customer base with multiple portfolios across North America. And customer base is typically defined as an asset manager or a building owner or a REIT or a combination thereof. Our customers tend to have portfolios that span from 200 buildings all the way up to 1,000. And our strategic objective in the market is to win a handful of buildings initially with the customer and then compete on the entire portfolio by scaling with that customer with our technology already embedded. And I think we've been able to show that history of starting with 10 buildings, getting to 400, and now focused on doubling that. So we have an aggressive sales approach to acquiring new customers, which includes deploying our technology in multiple properties without needing to or having to take on the entire portfolio. And I think that's given us a competitive advantage in terms of our strategy. In terms of our strategic approach to growth and what's going to drive our growth, we look at both organic and we look at strategic acquisitions. On the organic side, we innovate technology in-house. We don't buy technology. Technology is very expensive to acquire today, and the multiples you're paying, it's very difficult to have a large return on those multiples. So from an organic perspective, all technology is developed in-house, and that includes our energy management technology and our BioCloud technology, which I'll share shortly. In terms of acquisitions, we look for strategic opportunities at great value, usually 4 to 5 times EBITDA, strong cash flow, good business. Our market is primarily private and regional. There's a handful of small cap public companies that operate in our space. Most companies are private and regional, and then you have the mega caps like a Johnson Controls, a Honeywell, a Siemens, and a Schneider. Because it's a regional and private market, we do have ample opportunity to make good acquisitions on a value basis. Typically, that would be an owner retiring. It could be a competitor that we want to take out of the market, or a company that adds value to our portfolio. So we deploy both of those strategies. This year, our organic growth rates have been above 20%, and we've completed 1 acquisition. We've completed 6 acquisitions in total since we've been public, and all of those acquisitions have delivered value to our shareholders. In terms of demonstrating current and future innovation, I'd like to share the Kontrol BioCloud technology. Kontrol BioCloud was developed in one of our operating subsidiaries that we had acquired a few years back. This operating subsidiary is in the emission and particulate monitoring space. We were able to take that technology, provide some extra value, add some additional technology, and create BioCloud. The total spend in terms of software, hardware, and development was approximately $4 million. $2.5 million of that was covered by the federal and provincial government. And so for our investment, we've created a new technology that gives us a global opportunity and global scale potential. We've filed 4 patents. And BioCloud is designed to be an ambient air monitor, an early detection system for viruses and pathogens. Can be attached to an HVAC system or a standalone unit. Currently, we've signed numerous distribution agreements. Most recently, we've added one of the largest HVAC companies in the world as a partner, Daikin. And there's a lot more development coming for BioCloud. And it is the technology and control that gives us a global platform. While the energy management technologies tend to be North American-centric, BioCloud has opened up globally opportunities that were not available to us prior to. So we're very excited about the future of BioCloud. In terms of our vision of where BioCloud fits in terms of buildings, our view is in the next 10 years or over the next 10 years, just as smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors are now standard in buildings, early viral detection systems and early pathogen detection systems are going to be standard. We'll participate in that market. Of course, there's other competitors, but we've been able to attract the attention of some of the largest HVAC companies globally in the world that are looking for this type of technology. So again, we're very optimistic and bullish on the future of BioCloud and the partnerships that we're creating. In terms of summarizing, given our time constraints, I think Kontrol is a unique company in the small cap market. We do things a little differently, so high insider ownership, low share float, committed to growth with profitability. We've demonstrated an ability to grow from $1 million of revenue to this year ending at approximately 43 to 46 million. Great share structure and innovation internally where we can create value and the ability to acquire companies at good value and integrate them. And I think all those things are the reason why we're here today with a great revenue number, EBITDA positive, net income positive. In terms of the team, of course, I'm the CEO, a strong team with a lot of industry experience, highly committed to the business, high insider ownership position, and bullish about the future. So that concludes the presentation. Take a few minutes for Q&A, and then we can wrap up. So I'm in the Q&A section here, so let me just see what questions are here. Where do you see the company in the next 2 to 3 years? So we've provided an outlook for 2022, which is double where we are today. There's an important metric in the industry. So if you think about the large incumbents, the Johnsons, the Honeywell, the Siemens, the Schneiders, when you get to 1,000 buildings, it's a really important metric. And what it means is essentially you've made it to the scaling proposition. So Kontrol at 400 buildings. We said we were going to double that to 800 next year. you get to that kind of sweet spot. And the reason there's not a lot of small cap competitors is companies tend to be acquired when they reach a certain size and scale in the market. And that's why it's primarily a regional market. Private equity has been very active in our market, consolidating. But also on the public side, there's been some pretty interesting consolidations over the last 10 years where, once you reach a certain scale, you become an acquisition candidate. So our view is we're going to continue to keep posting great growth rates. We plan to double next year from this year, and the future looks very bright. Let's see. Let me refresh the questions. After expanding the Smart Suite technology in the U.S. market, are there expansion ambitions for Europe, Asia as well? So let me talk about Smart Suite because I think that's a really good question. Smart Suite is a building energy technology, and typically our customers are REITs, asset managers, owners that are looking to drive down energy costs, have more analytics, and improve sustainability. The technology was built for the North American market. And the reason we focused on the North American market is Europe is about 3 years ahead of us in terms of energy rates. We have now seen almost 100% growth in energy costs over the past 7 years. And if you think about that pace, Europe is about double that. So Europe's always been ahead in terms of energy efficiency and technology. We're catching up. But it's in that catch-up where there's great value and great margin and great arbitrage opportunity. So we're going to stay focused on the North American market in terms of our energy management technology, given the opportunity in terms of escalating energy costs, infrastructure plans from both governments, and the corporate sustainability movement, where sustainability is becoming a much more important discussion and part of every board of every public company. In terms of BioCloud, BioCloud is a global technology, and we have BioCloud units across Europe, Australia, Canada, the U.S. The BioCloud technology, because of its global application, is our primary focus globally. And so we'll have more updates on that with our partnerships as we add more partners and as we continue to scale that business. That would be our global technology. Any plans for a NASDAQ uplist? Yes, we've discussed one of our goals this year was to uplist in Canada first. So the NEO likes to call themselves the NASDAQ of the North. I don't have an opinion on that, but it is a Tier 1 listing in Canada. It is a senior exchange. Now that we've accomplished that goal, as we said we would this year, we're now focused on a U.S. uplist, and that's something that we're going to be working on in the first part of next year. So we're looking forward to that. A question on BioCloud. Have you considered promoting BioCloud to the general public through the various media talk show programs that continue to focus on the battle against COVID-19 and society at large? So BioCloud, our approach with BioCloud was to make this a B2B opportunity and focus on large incumbents in the industry that could really scale with us and move the technology from a distribution perspective. We're not a B2C sale. And in terms of marketing, we prefer to spend our time with our customers and our partners looking for opportunities to scale with them. This does two things for us. One, it takes the cost, it takes all that expense off the P&L. The reason we're profitable is we put a lot of financial discipline into the business. We're happy with our revenue growth. We're very happy with BioCloud, but we're also very happy with the P&L. So there's not many small caps that have been able to scale as fast as we have with a positive EBITDA and a positive net income. So we're very cautious when it comes to perhaps over-marketing or spending too much time and effort and money on marketing. That is our approach. Some folks like it, some folks don't. But if you want to have financial discipline, you want to maintain integrity in your P&L, your balance sheet, you can't just market your way to success. That's our approach. Again, it's not for everyone. We will continue to focus on our large distribution partners. And it's not every day you can bring a Daikin to the table as a small cap. I think that often goes unnoticed with Kontrol in terms of the partnerships we've been able to develop, Steelcase, Daikin, and more to come. And it takes a lot of discipline to build your business, scale your revenue, and maintain a positive EBITDA, positive net income. I think in some cases, people glance over that in small caps because a lot of it is about momentum. But I'm just sharing that financial discipline is very important to us as the primary shareholders in the business, and also important to the majority of our shareholders. Can you share some information regarding the newly announced Smart Power platform? Yes, so geothermal is now becoming a place where everyone needs to be in the market in terms of infrastructure spend. As an example, the Canadian Investment Bank has now designated that companies that provide sustainability and energy solutions with emissions reductions of up to 30% can qualify. Canadian Infrastructure Bank can now qualify for up to 20-year financing at around 2%. And if we think about where the money's going into sustainable infrastructure. Smart Power is a power plant opportunity where we can build small localized power plants, provide energy as a service for 20 years, or build those cash flows and sell them. There's a lot of value in those and a lot of value in being sustainable in terms of infrastructure. And if you think about where capital is flowing in terms of banking, finance, capital is flowing into the sustainable energy sector, sustainability, and emission reduction. I think we're at the early stages of a 10-year boom in that regard, and Smart Power represents our entry into that market. And the good news is we have a number of clients with multiple projects. So we do have an order book of $160 million, approximately $130 million of that order book is large new construction HVAC projects. We have a great customer base, and we're going to start quoting those opportunities here, and we think we have a great shot at building real sustainable cash flows based on sustainable infrastructure. So we're excited about the addition of Smart Power to the Kontrol Technologies family. So I think that concludes my presentation and my time. I appreciate you joining us, and hopefully we've got to most of your questions. Thank you very much.
That concludes today's presentation, and thank you for tuning in.